In 2054, after a 2-decade-long development scheme funded by the government, a massive tsunami devastated central London. The square miles, bridges, and tunnels were destroyed. 2 years of riots followed. Outlaw barge villages formed along the banks of the Thames, fueling trafficking in illegal cybernetic body modifications and open-source drugs. In 2065, the construction of a 20-meter-high barrier encircling what was left of the square mile was completed and martial law was declared. This barrier is known simply as the Wall. A sense of normality returned to parts of the square mile, but the barge villages continue to thrive and the neighborhoods across the Thames remain lawless and squalid. Mercenaries, hackers, and cyborg street fighters arose from this chaos. They operate outside the law, without protection from the Thames crime bosses. This is London. The year is 2123. This is Dayender.
It had a bushy tail, Jake. It was a squirrel.
It was probably a cat. Squirrels are extinct.
I saw the picture. It was definitely a squirrel.
Like you'd know the difference, Ellie. Maybe it was a rat.
Oh, screw you, Jake. Rats don't have bushy tails either.
Well, if this guy wants a squirrel, why doesn't he just go to a biolab like everyone else that wants a pet?
That's why we're going to see. Jake, you okay? Jake always had a problem with Metho-6. He tried to quit, but he never stuck with it. He'd often call me in dead of night, asking me to come get him from whatever Metho-6 den he crawled out of. I could see his head felt like it was on fire as his synapses burned out from the lack of the drug.
Ellie, give me a patch.
Pathetic. He had barely lasted an hour.
Squirrel. Land of twisted metal. Concrete.
And now he was hallucinating. Brilliant. I didn't have time for this. I need to be in the Wi-Fi zone in 20 minutes, and I'm not dragging your skinny, junky backside all the way there. High tide's in 4 hours.
Ellie, give me a patch, please.
You'll have to stick it on yourself. I tossed him a patch. He grabbed it with a shaking hand. Then I walked away. I walked to the security door. The ID card panel on the voice recognition system flashed at me. I swiped my card.
Awaiting voice recognition.
Voice recognition. Juliet Alpha 26.
Voice recognition confirmed. Have a nice day.
Passing security points always made me nervous, especially when I was on a job. I couldn't put my finger on it exactly, but there was something unnervingly ironic about a computer saying, "Have a nice day." I stepped into the security passage. The door closed behind me. I tried to walk as casually as possible. If they were going to try and get me, it would be in the security passage. As I walked, I began to think about Jake. He used to be the best driver in the mile, but now it seemed like I was his personal babysitter. I reached the far end and swiped my security card. I composed myself and walked into the busy street. You could never be quite sure what to expect from the square mile. It was Saturday night, and the streets were hopping. Boy racers from Kensington and Soho cruised the moto grid 10 metres up. BMWs and Mazdas, engines revving, blasted the latest 8-bit trance tracks, making sonic mud. The streets were full of students and hipsters, smoking synthetic hash and showing off their latest body mods. A lot of it was purely aesthetic. Pointed ears, claws, enlarged canines, even the occasional tail. All completely useless, of course. As I walked through the throng of bodies, people would stare at me, squinting, searching my body for mods, or just because the drugs had made them less inhibited. I smiled to myself. They could squint all they wanted to. They'd never see it. I did have a body mod, but it was on the inside. I'd had my brain hardwired with a biocompatible Wi-Fi system. If they knew the cost, not to mention the risk involved in such a procedure, they'd probably be bowing before me. Anyway, that didn't interest me. I had work to do. Suddenly, I picked up the Wi-Fi signal. I was getting close. I increased my step and turned off into a dark alleyway. I searched around my side leg utility pouch. I had one cigarette left. I lit it and inhaled. It helped to calm me down. It was always better to enter the net as calm as possible. The many-layered network snapped into focus. I willed myself, as if having a lucid dream, down through the layers of code, past adverts, government health warnings, newscasts, until I saw a concentrated cluster of a connection matrix that drew my attention. This area of the network was full of distraction, kids mainly, hacking into goods for free. I pushed myself deeper, forcing myself onward. As I glided around to the access point of the connection matrix, a government propaganda node suddenly appeared. If you weren't careful, these things could suck you in like a vortex. I quickly scanned the entire connection matrix for known viral patterns and worm tracks. It looked clean. I grabbed it. As I glided into the matrix, I found the file I was looking for. A digital marker had been planted on it for me. I wasn't told by who. That must have been a need-to-know kind of thing. I opened the file. The access code was right there. Its icon was a small spinning gold key. I grabbed it, data streaming a copy into my wetware. My alarm! At these depths of the network, this meant something serious. This wouldn't be an underpaid police droid search team. This was a special branch Stinger drone. I had to get out. And I had to get out now. I dived out of the connection matrix. The Stinger was coming straight towards me. I initiated my conscious reboot and blasted back up through the layers of code towards the access point of the network. Looking back, the Stinger drone was closing fast. It extended its digital claw and prepared to seize me, locking me into the depths of a digitally induced coma. I looked back up. The network ceiling raced towards me. I slammed into it. I exhaled the lungful of cigarette smoke I had been holding. That had been too close for comfort.